just say, "Hey guys, we're gonna start streaming."
What's up, everybody?
That's right. Well, you gotta give people a chance to put the filter on.
I am now going to speak in my ASMR voice.
Can we do an ASMR stream?
Yes, we will do. Yeah, when we hit 100 Patreons, we'll do an ASMR stream.
Patreon is propping up the world's economy right now.
And Patreon is great.
Patreon and OnlyFans.
Please check us out on both.
I've seen at least 3 girls I know start Patreon page or OnlyFans pages
Do I know
during
them?
this pandemic.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know them.
So many of my friends have started selling feet pics. It's really distressing times.
Kelsey has a OnlyFans. She's
Yep.
kind of expensive.
That makes sense.
Oh wait, Kelsey McDonald?
Yep.
Oh, you know her too, Jamie?
I fucking hate Kelsey McDonald. And it's like not based in anything. We just don't gel.
Oh,
I don't think she gels with most people.
I was always neutral to her.
Yeah, I
Me and,
always had.
do you guys know Emma Jarrett?
Yes, I think we're friends on Snapchat.
Me and Emma are cool. Me and Kelsey are not.
You're gonna go to. That's gonna be on your fucking tombstone. You're gonna go to the.
Wait, were we streaming that? Hold on.
Yep.
Oh fuck! Hey. All right, where is this being posted after the fact?
Kelsey McDonald was our only YouTube subscriber.
Fuck, man. I hate being caught like talking about somebody in like a non-neutral or positive
Hey, man.
context.
Hey, man, there is zero chance she is ever going to listen
That's
to
fair.
anything.
I mean, it's not like it'll change anything. We're just gonna hate each other more.
Oh, man.
Right.
Just gonna
Next time I
revert
talk to her, I'm
videos.
going to have to ask her about you.
It's just,
Hey, do you,
I can't even go into it, man, without like explaining.
You remember
So, like-
that bitch from my school? Just any random person. I'm gonna start calling people out.
John would love for you the next time you talk to her say, "Hey, do you remember Jamie?"
I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
Please,
He's
and then let me know what she says.
He's got some words for you.
Some good, some bad.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, she's a stripper in Florida with an OnlyFans page.
Hey, man. I mean,
Get
she's
it.
pretty hot, so I guess that like
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
for her.
Yep.
Preferred her as a blonde, but she's still, she's
The rich
still
get
pretty.
richer.
The rich get richer. Huh? Oh man. Who are the other two? I know her.
One of the girls is a girl from Indiana. Her name is
Oh
Ona,
man.
Okay.
and then the other one is a girl from California. She lives there now, but I knew her in high school.
Okay. So I don't know the other two.
Yeah, they're over. They won't do it on Facebook, but they'll do it on Instagram. Their
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah.
page. They let everybody know.
Yeah,
Well, that's what
Can't let
Instagram is
mom and
for.
dad
Yeah, Facebook's for your parents and for your grandparents.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for
Twitter,
Russians.
Instagram, Snapchat. That's for everybody who's got a debit card that will pay for your boob pics.
And I mean, more power to him, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't hate the player. I hate the game.
This,
yeah.
this is such. Damn it.
This is still streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We just plugged a bunch of girls' OnlyFans.
that was
Hey.
Free
our,
advertisement.
that was our
Our
podcast
podcast.
for the day.
Our podcast is brought to you by OnlyFans.
Joke's on you fuckers. You thought this was going to be about Return of the Jedi.
Are you infected in any way financially by the current COVID-19 health crisis? Try OnlyFans. If you're hot, it works. If you're not,
I mean, shit, even if you're not hot,
it sucks.
like, there are some particular fetishes out there, dude.
Yeah, all
So-
you gotta do is hit a niche fetish. I had a guy tell me that he knew a very successful like fat chick OnlyFans, and I was like, really? That's interesting.
So you're saying there's no downsides to OnlyFans.com?
If you have I don't want to say no pride. If you have
Joe,
if
there are spots.
if you just don't care what parts of your body people are saying, yeah, there's the fruits of the labor.
What a
they
resounding
care.
endorsement for OnlyFans.
They
That's the
care,
title of-
but
that's
for a price. OnlyFans.
I'm gonna
Hey, babe.
I'm gonna print out. I'm gonna get those words that you just said, Joe. And it's gonna be the thumbnail of the video.
I'm pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Adding like this sound clip that's just
Yeah, that was great.
that transcends everything.
Starting with I
dope.
don't want to say pride.
That's super cool. I want one of those. I actually want one of the games.
I remember that video you made about us,
Your wings are in the microwave.
and at the very end, just my voiceover about how many dicks I've seen on the trip.
The Panama City beach trip.
I've seen more dicks this weekend than I've seen in my entire life.
That bothers me. Oh my god, such an excellent quote.
Speaking of dicks, remember how George Lucas didn't direct this movie?
How'd you segue to that?
So, this was a weird way to start a Star Wars Return of the Jedi review. But that's what you tuned in for.
Oh, I'm gonna put away Dark Souls so I can actually focus.
Thank you, Jamie. Joe, will you
Talking about Return of the Jedi.
Joe, will you put away PUBG so we can properly focus?
I am playing Civ. Thank you very much.
Oh, Civ. Okay.
Less attention needed.
Yeah.
20th Century Fox.
Yep.
Remember them?
So we got a strong start. Strong start.
Oh wait, did we start in the movie?
Did you just say Disney?
Yeah. We're starting right now. And no, 20th Century Fox. They
Now
completely
known as
Disney.
20th Century Pictures.
a completely separate legal entity. We are required to inform you.
We're in a galaxy a long
Oh,
time ago, far, far away. Word.
Mm-hmm. I'm not.
Was that the Game of Thrones theme? Was that the Game of Thrones opening song?
We can't watch this in real time. This will take fucking forever. Okay.
They don't have a faster play option on Disney Plus?
I don't think they do.
Fucking communists.
Episode VI, Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, that's how that's said.
Luke Skywalker has returned to his home planet of Tatooine in an attempt to rescue his friend Han Solo from the clutches of the vile gangster Jabba the Hutt. Little does Luke know that the Galactic Empire has secretly begun construction on a new armored space station, even more powerful than the first dreaded Death Star. When completed, this ultimate weapon will spell certain doom for the small band of rebels and struggling to restore freedom of the galaxy. ... Not a bad title.
Fun fact. Death Star 2 was supposedly bigger than Death Star 1.
That's how you know it was even more powerful than the first
Yeah.
Death Star.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Alright, so we start with a Star Destroyer entering the frame.
Like always.
A little, reminds you of the first movie. It's like poetry.
It rhymes.
Oh, man. And then I cannot tell you what exactly happens. I know this is the first. Well, the Emperor shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought at the beginning Vader was just like telling them they need to hurry up with the shit on the second Death Star before the Emperor shows up. The Emperor doesn't have his first appearance until later in the film, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
Might be my mistake.
Yeah, he's just skipping ahead.
I cannot remember what happens in this scene then.
Well, it's because the scene is just all exposition.
Yeah,
There's blah blah second Death Star blah blah, and that's it.
Yeah, we kind of tore apart the first 30 minutes or so of this movie earlier.
Oh shit. See, I actually like the first. I like the Jabba the Hutt shit.
Really?
I think it's flawed, but we'll get into that when we get to the palace.
Yeah.
Did you ask me to shut the door, babe? Okay. But yeah, like that first scene kind of sets a trend for this movie, where it's like really exposition heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and then also like one of the things I noticed about the movie that like you can really see start to begin with this first scene is that it takes a step away from the sort of like character-driven storytelling of The Empire Strikes Back and moves towards a more like, MacGuffin-y, plot-centric narrative where okay, there's another Death Star, the rebels have to go take care of it, and all the narrative is motivated by them like progressing through a series of goals, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just different.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you think there was some kind of pressure after Empire Strikes Back for him to widen the appeal of this movie? Because it just seemed, I don't know, I'm trying to understand what he's trying to do, and he's introducing everything we already know. And he's kind of, all right, here's Darth Vader. The Emperor's coming. Okay, so there's someone above this guy, but he's super feared. And it's just, like, I didn't know, is George Lucas or whoever is trying to introduce everyone who might be seeing Star Wars for the first time in this movie?
I think that you're onto something there. One of the inherent problems with sequels is that as the writer, you have to assume you can write under the assumption that it might be the first movie in the series that people have watched. They might not have watched the ones before it, so that exposition like this is usually a way to kind of catch viewers who haven't seen the other ones up. But at the same time, I think it's generally better just to trust that your viewers are savvy and not deal with that kind of exposition, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the third film in with two other establishments. People should be pretty well caught up by now.
So after a scene with Darth Vader,
Yes,
Darth Vader,
saying that we need to get shit ready for the Emperor.
right? We cut to C-3PO and R2-D2 in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back and tell Master Luke. So Master Luke sent them there. So this is the first part of the plan.
Yeah, this is the first part of the very intricate plan.
Okay.
This part of the movie is it's really weird because they almost kind of do the Game of Thrones season 8 thing where they had two conflicts from the previous movie that were unresolved, and then they had a mystery with who's the other hope that Yoda was referring to in The Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of cut it into two chunks, and in the first act of the movie, they're okay, let's go save Han from holy shit, Han from Jabba the Hutt.
Habba's the
and
name
then
of my
yeah, they're
favorite
fan. Their ship, and then they do a hard cut, and they're well, now that that's done, let's go deal with the Empire, and it's kind of jarring. I think I would have liked to have seen the two, I guess, plot threads kind of be intertwined more, as opposed to them okay, let's resolve this plot thread and then kind of mechanically move on and resolve the next plot thread in that order. But this first part is it's really weird and almost heist movie-ish, if that makes sense.
Yes,
and I kind of like it.
I agree.
I dig how all of there's again the return to the worm's eye perspective with C-3PO and R2-D2 from A New Hope, where they're the first characters we see and we're kind of along for the ride with them, and then all the other players from the previous two films kind of pop up in Jabba's palace and we see what they're doing. So we get the inkling that there is some sort of plan, but I wish the plan was a bit more well fleshed out, and I wish there were I wish there were more clues as to what the plan was. That way, when it does happen, then the audience, the savvy audience members who picked up on it, could be "Oh, cool! I picked up on that," and would feel satisfied.
Yeah, because there's not even a little hint that R2 has a lightsaber.
Well, okay. So part 2 of this plan is to say that get escorted to Jabba the Hutt. Say that you are surrendering yourself to him as a gift, so that you can get into his court.
Mm-hmm.
So all right. So get caught.
Yeah,
is step 2.
Yeah. I think that's all well and fine. It's just
Right.
you have
Right.
two.
I'm with you so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we see in the next scene, right? We see that what's his name? Lando Calrissian is there, right?
Yeah, we don't know that it's him yet, though.
Mm-hmm. He's in disguise.
Who's Lando?
We don't know until later when he very obviously tilts his mask for no reason, just to reveal that he is Billy D. Williams.
Is he hitting on his daughter yet? Is that later? Sorry.
Okay, I'm trying to understand. All right, so, and now the droids present a hologram message from Luke Skywalker, who says to surrender or die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
Surrender Han Solo and,
Yeah, or you'll meet certain doom.
Yeah.
Okay, and they say, ha ha. No.
They laugh more. There's also like. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one thing to keep in mind that I did have to make sure of earlier is that a year has passed since the end of Empire Strikes Back. And does anybody know canonically whether it's old canon or new canon, what Luke was doing in between Empire and Return of the Jedi?
Huh. That's
a good
I actually
question.
don't know.
Yeah, me and Brandon talked about this. Joe, do you what was Luke doing after Empire Strikes Back before Return of the Jedi?
I know he built a lightsaber, but that's technically a deleted scene in this movie.
Yeah,
so.
that was the one thing I said too.
Yeah. I assumed that he was on Dagobah, training with Yoda.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It says here that he meditated inside a desert cave on Tatooine
For a year.
For a year.
after finding a journal written by Obi-Wan.
Where did he find the journal at? On Tatooine?
I'm flipping through it right now on Tatooine. Yeah.
I know he didn't go
Okay,
back to
okay.
Dagobah because I think in this movie they hit on that he hasn't been back yet.
That's what Brandon was
Yeah.
saying. And I definitely missed it. Okay.
She just motherfucking ghosted Yoda for a whole goddamn year.
That's what I was bringing up. That Luke technically has like
And then
6
he gets
months
back
and a
and
day
goes
of
to, like-
training. Yeah, like he has like 6 months of training with Yoda and like a day, like an afternoon with Obi-Wan of training.
Yeah.
And then we get the musical number that is
Okay.
That is integral
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
film.
but like after the robot torture, we get to the extended musical number with horribly
That's
updated CGI.
I had never seen this version of Return of the Jedi before. What the actual fuck?
Yeah, man, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's like what?
The original is so much better.
Oh my god! What is it?
What the blah, blah. Thank God. I mean, really, each one of those dancers has a backstory on Wikipedia.
Yeah, probably.
They also
Rumor
have
has it one of them are Nicki
They
Minaj.
also have an OnlyFans.
I just want to know what genre of music that is considered, so I can like build a podcast or not a playlist of it
It's probably
on
like,
Spotify.
it's probably like Jizz
Top
Hop.
40.
Jizz
Top 40.
Top
Because
40.
the jazz music is called Jizz.
Yeah,
I don't know if we touched on that on
I don't
Oprah.
think we did.
really well thought out name.
They spent a whole afternoon on it. Okay. And then a stranger comes to barter with no gift. Or with Chewbacca. I keep fucking forgetting.
There is actually one thing about that like weird long dance scene that I like, and that's when they throw the fucking stripper into the Rancor pit,
Yeah.
and you don't actually see the Rancor yet. You just hear her kind of like scream as she's being eaten. I don't know. I thought that like it's super on the nose, but I think that's a pretty effective way of like establishing a kind of like Chekhov's gun type
Yeah.
situation
Yeah,
where
I
like
agree.
okay we know there's something down there and it's going to come back up later.
I agree.
Yeah, that the foreshadowing fits the extended musical number though.
Yeah, the extended musical number, not a.
Once
No.
again, what Mason was saying, it seems like it was trying to appeal to a broader audience in a way, like bring in more kids because the first two movies aren't very kid-like. I mean, they are in nature, but in like sort of tone and aesthetic. They're not really for kids.
They're R2D2, at least C3, but before this scene, are super shiny.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they're walking through the desert, before getting to Jabba's palace, like they just like they're immaculately glowing in this fucking desert. No,
Yeah, they moisturized.
Yeah, no scratches, no grease, no lived in from like the last movie. I don't know. It feels too clean.
That may be that's a good point. That may have something to do with like was that I'm tripping over my fucking words. I'm curious to know if that's something that was like retouched from the original cut of the film, or if that was just how it was always like.
Oh man, we just got to the Lando mask and head tilt.
Yeah, we're trying to catch up, but yeah. So the stranger offers to blow everybody up if they don't get what they pay for, and Jabba the Hutt likes that, and then takes Chewbacca away, and the bounty hunter's invited to celebrate with them, and the guard pulls his mask down, and it's Lando.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got him.
Yeah.
I don't mind that one at all. That one, it feels kind of like cheesy. You know, like, it feels like Miami
like,
Vice.
It's one of those things like licking the salt planet in The Last Jedi, where like, okay, we got to let the audience know that this is a thing, but how else are we going to let them know other than him like tilting his mask down? You know,
you're gonna come right at it. Okay, and then our bounty hunter that took Chewbacca is sneaking around and finds Han. And the next part of his plan is to unfreeze Han. And he's about Harrison. I think Brandon said it. That Harrison Ford is about to do the best acting of his life right now because he's gonna pretend to be blind.
his like exact words are just, "I can't see."
Yep.
That raises an interesting point. Do we think, is it ever actually explicitly stated if Leia was in on Luke's plan or not? Because she kind of shows up, frees Han, and then is immediately captured. Like, do we think that she was a part of, the plot, I guess, or is she just kind of going out and doing this on her own?
See, I thought she was a part of Luke's plan because otherwise they picked the exact same day or whatever to show up.
Yeah.
What a coincidence!
That and the fact that he clearly plans on them being captured, including himself.
True. True.
Well, maybe Luke foresaw Leia doing her plan, and so he decided to do his plan on the same day.
His plan on the same time, yeah. What I do think is cool about this little bit is like...
Hey, maybe Leia foresaw Luke doing his
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Who knows?
Yep.
I do like how, Leia kind of gets her own bit in this first little like mini film that's
Yeah,
like the movie.
that's a good.
Because like she just kind of sat around for a lot of not sat around, but she didn't have much to do during Empire.
That's right.
So it's nice to see her with like motivations for like getting her boyfriend back and stuff.
Yeah, and rescuing, taking action. And then
And we get to see her in a bikini for a couple minutes, which is hot, but how well does that fit in with the female agency thing?
Like, whenever you saw this movie, that's when you hit puberty.
Yeah, well, it was this and Pirates of the Caribbean 2, man.
what happens in Pirates of the Caribbean 2?
Just watch Keira Knightley in that movie. Just any second she's on frame.
Just in the second one, though.
Just the second one.
Yeah, in the first movie, she doesn't have the kind of like strident Kate Blanchett-y sexuality that she does in the second one.
I can agree with that, being that I just watched Pirates of the Caribbean not too long ago. All the movies.
Oh my god, did we just become a Pirates of the Caribbean podcast?
Yeah, bro, can we do Pirates of the Caribbean next? I want to talk about those.
Well, we can spend
100%.
2 hours on how you actually say the title if we do
We will.
those.
True.
And I will always take the opposite point of view.
Because I can already tell me and Jamie say it differently.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the like proper pronunciation of that word is.
I don't give a
Caribbean. Caribbean.
English is a bastard language. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
Everything's
Exactly.
broken. Pronounce it whichever way you want. All right, so Leia gets captured.
Then Luke shows up because he knows she's going to get captured.
Or are they separate plans and he just so happened to shows up?
I think you made a good point about, it's too coincidental. Like, I think that they're the same plan. One thing that it might be, maybe, is that Leia thought Luke's plan was a little too passive, so she was like, okay, well, I'm going to go there, but then I'm going to try to immediately free Han.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah.
This is just one of the points where I wish things were a little bit more fleshed out in terms of what exactly the plan is and what everyone's role, in it.
And then Luke, threatens Jabba, saying, give me what I want or you're going to die. And then he's on a trapdoor. And he drops down and has to fight the Rancor. Would you say Pineapple Express is the reason?
Oh, yeah. I always remember it's called a Rancor because of the scene in Pineapple Express when they take James Franco into the barn to go into the underground lab. And they're pushing him down the hole. He's like, what's down there, man? A fucking Rancor?
It's kind of... That scene is, odd, the Rancor scene, because, the Rancor itself holds up really well. The puppetry, I guess, or stop motion.
Uh-huh.
But whenever it cuts back to Luke, and you can tell that Luke is just staring at a blue screen, it's there's a weird disconnect there.
Yeah, me and Mason had a similar conversation earlier about the same thing.
It just, I thought, it just feels like they said, all right, get the shot of Luke, and then they turned around and said, all right, here's where the monster's going to go. All right, now you move to the wall. All right, here comes the segue. To the whole George Lucas directed this movie thing. I wonder if that's a byproduct of... So, you know how George Lucas wanted Steven Spielberg to initially direct this film, right?
I know he wanted him to direct one of them, I think.
Yeah. It was this movie, but something came up with the Directors Guild and Steven Spielberg wasn't able to. And then they tried to get David Lynch next. And David Lynch... was like, no, fuck you, because this is nerd shit, dude. And he didn't do it. And then they settled on Richard Marquand, who, I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right, but he had done something for the Beatles, and that was his really only big credit at the time. And he had no idea how any of the special effects technology worked. He didn't have a conception of how to film it. He was just really inexperienced with it. So George Lucas had to be on set, on production the entire time and basically function as second unit director because his director for the film was just so inexperienced with the technology. And I wonder if moments like this that haven't aged quite as well as the special effects from Empire and A New Hope are a byproduct of having a director that was just so inexperienced with the technology, or if I'm just overthinking it.
No, I think that's good. I think that's a good analysis.
Yeah, because I knew he wasn't a real big time director.
Yeah. I mean, we have to go back through his Wikipedia and see what he had done beforehand, but I'm pretty sure this was his first, he may have done other features, but this was his first, actually, big project that he'd been working on.
And then Luke defeats the Rancor, and this guy without a shirt is really sad about it.
I love it. Man. I love it. He gets emotional. He actually cares about that thing.
It's just, it's such excellent world building. You know who that Rancor was. You know he had a family. You know he meant something to somebody.
Yeah. He needs some consoling.
It cuts away to Jabba's throne, so we think we were progressing, and then it cuts back to the Rancor being dead. He's just crying.
There is one thing I wanted to note on. It's not a big analysis thing, but I do think it's pretty cool just how fucking weird Luke is in this movie. He walks in and you expect him to be this really rough and tough, cool, calm and collected knight, but instead he's sort of a new age hippie preacher, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's just look, Jabba, if you don't do what I tell you, you're gonna die. It's
yeah. God is will.
I don't know. I think it's a cool touch.
Yeah.
Making him more of a weird Shaolin monk than a gunslinger.
Just speaking of which, if Hot Wok goes out of business, I'm gonna open up a restaurant called East Meets West, and meats is spelled MEATS, and it's gonna be hibachi and barbecue.
Dude, I'd eat there.
Thank you.
I
Jay.
would too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, it sounds like Walking Wings, but better.
Ooh, Walking Wings is a solid name.
Dude, have you ever been to Walking Wings in Americus?
No, I don't even know. God, I need to come there.
You just need to go to Marietta, man.
No, dude, you don't want to eat at Walking Wings. A woman found a fish hook in her food there once.
Found a what?
A fish hook in her food.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
If I say you need to come to Marietta, Jamie, because whatever you want to eat in the restaurant, it's just named it. You want wing and
Hell yeah.
burger? We got wing and burger.
Wing and burger.
We got
Dude.
we got wing and what is it like wing
and fish.
We got wing and fish. We got burger and shrimp.
Dude,
And
I loved wing and fish.
Yeah.
Wing and fish was so
Dude.
good.
It's when we get up there, it's going to be either Marietta or Doraville, dude.
Where's Dorable?
I do not know.
It's like I couldn't tell you because I don't actually live in the area. I just know it's one of the other Atlanta suburbs that's like cheaper to live in.
When I lived in Atlanta, I had 3 different towns I could put in my address: Norcross, Mechanicsville, or Doraville.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. It's right up there with Norcross
Ooh,
on Buford Highway.
Oh, okay, off of Beaver Highway. Yeah, that's a little far out there, towards Gwinnett.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
So
whole
the Rancor's
time,
dead.
yeah. This whole time we've been just waiting to get to the fucking Sarlacc pit.
Right. This is what. Yeah, I think it's the first thing anybody remembers about this movie.
Yeah. A hard
I
cut
remember
to
the
the
Rancor.
Sarlacc pit.
Oh,
A
that's
really
true.
hard
That's true.
cut to the Sarlacc pit would have been cool. Would have saved a lot of time and would have instantly been like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Whoa.
Yeah.
But instead we get more exposition from Jabba,
Yeah.
which like we don't even understand. So he has to say the lines first, and then his translator has to relay the lines to Luke and Han because they have no idea what's going on. And then it's I don't know. I like this opening segment, but that's just kind of a really weird editing choice that they left that in.
My boy Salacious Crumb over there.
You do the laugh.
That's crazy how you knew that character's name.
Yeah.
Yep. His translator's name is Bib Fortuna.
Oh my god.
And I'm not joking, I googled it just to make sure. And it is Bib Fortuna.
It's a small galaxy.
It's like Fortnite and tuna put
The
together.
Legend of Bib Fortuna. Star Wars Explained. Someone already has a video on Bib Fortuna.
Yeah. It's 1 minute and 39 seconds long. Riveting.
Fantastic, huh?
Welcome to Star Wars Theory.
And
Bib
the Star
Fortuna
Wars fan base gave that video what 3 million views.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious.
It is kind of fun to like
just under 50,000.
Under 50,000, I think still
It's
substantial.
not
It
bad.
was almost 4 years ago.
That movie made him 20, or that video made him $20.
There you go.
How Star Wars was saved in the edit. 999,000 views.
Neck and neck. Still
Who did?
everybody's good.
Who did How Star Wars was saved in the edit? I can't remember which
I want
channel.
to bring this up. This guy's setting up this turret right now to shoot at the stationary like little cart that they're fighting on. He has all day to aim, and like he somehow like, wildly misses, and then like doesn't get another shot off before who is it? Oh wait, he sets up again. This already happened, or did you rewind it?
I rewind
Okay. Yeah, he has all day, and he quickly throws down the gun. There's no one around him, and he just blindly shoots and misses everything.
He's doing his best.
Oh man.
Okay, but so we fast forward a little bit because
Yes.
Luke got his lightsaber ejected to him, haha, and they've been all fighting. They're all trying to get away. Boba Fett's fighting a little bit. Luke's jumping from a spacecraft to a spacecraft, or a hovercraft to a hovercraft.
And now Boba Fett goes out like a bitch.
Yeah, it's a really,
With a
it's a
Wilhelm
pretty
scream.
engaging action scene until
Or
that
does
bit
he?
where like Yeah,
find
apparently he's
out
coming
season
back
2
in
of
the Mandalorian.
Sponsored by Disney Plus.
I was about to say, should I, if we didn't already have the title or the what's the thing called? The thumbnail for the video. It would be the picture of the Starlight Pit with a big red circle around it, and it just says 14 things you didn't know about season 2 of Mandalorian.
When is that going to premiere? Is that premiering end of this year?
You gotta watch our video on it. It's one of the things you don't know about season 2 of the Mandalorian.
I Google it.
No, don't do it.
No, good show.
You're gonna take
Oh,
away
that's bad.
you're gonna take away the ad revenue from our video. Okay, so they all fight. Boba Fett dies by getting hit in the back with a jetpack, or Han Solo hit in the back of his jetpack. And a little interesting little scene when Lando's getting taken by the Sarlacc and he kind of helps Han Solo aim. I kind of like that. I thought that was kind of cool. And then Leia and Luke are fighting back, and they have like a little scene that reminds you of A New Hope, where they both swing to safety.
That's your sister, man.
Yeah, that's his sister.
That's such a weird writing twist.
That's that true love conquers all. And then the magnets can pick the droids up, and then they
Zoom out of there.
they zoom out of there, and then they're going to the same place, but they fly in opposite directions.
One of them stopping by like McDonald's.
Okay, I'll meet you back at the fleet. Yeah. And Luke is gonna go see Yoda by the time it takes you to go to McDonald's.
Luke's gonna go see Yoda for the first time in a year.
That's crazy.
Or
that he's not. What were you doing this whole fucking year? You were meditating in a cave.
Yoda's like, I've been dying. I've been slowly dying for a whole year. Because he's not. He's super like happy and jovial.
Okay, hang on. So, Luke covers up his wound that reveals his metal hand, and says, "I have a promise to keep to an old friend."
Mm-hmm.
Who's the prom? Did he
Promised Yoda that he's coming back for training.
Okay.
In Empire, he promised Yoda he'd be back.
Okay. I was trying to.
Which like,
Did he promise Obi-Wan to go see Yoda after a year? Why did you wait till now to go do it? Or do you think they were all they're on Tatooine, and every day they just came together and like, did you think of a plan yet? No, they just went to bed for a year.
One day he woke up and was like, I got
The plan. Alright, but we cut back to the Emperor Starfleet, and we get the first time the Emperor's been on screen.
Really? Besides the hologram in the first one, which wasn't even really the Emperor in the original version, and the Praetorian Guards.
Yep.
yeah.
Introduced to them. I mean, they're toys, but
They look cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
Everything in this movie is a toy.
Yeah.
That's right.
The aliens and the dance scene, they're toys.
Oh my gosh.
Merchandising.
They're just like the fucking pod racers that you can fucking buy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There are toys of Luke's aunt and uncle being burnt. So there's toys for every fucking thing.
Wait, are you serious?
I know what I'm
Yeah.
getting. Joe's first
Holy
one.
shit. Dude, I gotta own 50.
They're only going to increase in value. You just staring at Brandon, huh? Oh, Charlie. Charlie misses you too, Jamie.
Yeah, I miss Charlie a lot.
Good boy. I'm talking about my
Wait, is
dog.
Brandon at your place?
Yeah, I told you this is the first men of the round.
Oh, we're this like two people in the same room. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I forgot about that side.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you can't notice that that's happening.
Okay, so Luke's What I'm sorry. What did we learn from the scene with the Emperor and Darth Vader?
That he was going to try and turn Luke. I think.
Okay.
It's more like it's just more of characters kind of expositing like their like intentions.
Yes.
Which is just like there's so much dialogue in this movie where people just talk about what they're going to do or what needs to get done or who is who.
And we brought it up, or Jamie, in A New Hope when we were talking about how heavily edited it was, and how if you watch the original sequence it was supposed to take place in, a lot of that stuff got trimmed for the exact reasons that we're talking about. This movie has too many scenes. So it's like, this movie honestly should not be 2 hours and like 15 minutes long.
Yeah. Like, if the Emperor's first introduction is him in the throne room, I honestly think that would be fine. Because I didn't remember this scene of him talking to Darth Vader until I watched it again.
Right.
This movie isn't bad. It's not a bad movie. There's a lot of really good stuff in it. It's just, before the whole Jabba the Hutt act takes place, and then after it, there's a lot of exposition that really doesn't need to be there. Because even in the scenes between Luke and Yoda, which we do get some interesting character stuff, the main takeaway from that is they talk about how Luke's got to face Darth Vader. Luke's got to face Darth Vader. They say it over and over again. Yoda tells Luke that there's another Skywalker, and Luke's like, what? And then 2 seconds later, he goes outside, and Obi-Wan's there, and he's like, it's my sister, without any real provocation. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just kind of like bland exposition.
It just comes out of nowhere too.
And it doesn't really resolve the mystery from Empire in a satisfying way. For it to just be like Luke to just realize, oh, Leia's my sister, but nothing really ever comes of that. Like, the only significance that has to the narrative is Luke and Leia can't be hot for each other, and then that whole love triangle thing is over. Like, that's literally the only plot significance it really has in terms of what occurs in the events of the movie.
Right.
I think it would have been more interesting if Leia had discovered that she had the Force in a way that was like, I don't know,
impactful. On screen. Yeah, I was about to bring up the fact that she could have done something that could have displayed some Force sensitivity, which I think is kind of what they did with Finn and Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. It's kind of something sort of similar to that before the reveal.
Yeah,
would have been much more satisfying.
Would have given her something to do in Empire Strikes Back.
There you go.
Yeah, there could have been clues to that in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
but there weren't.
She did have a conversation with Luke, fill him at the very end.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Good catch.
They should have. They definitely should have kind of reminded us of that in some way in this movie. Because we're how far are we in right now? And we have up until Obi-Wan just tells us we don't really remember or have a clue that Leia could be that person.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like they spend all this time expositing stuff that is just we already know it. When they could have used it to remind us of that plot thread. Because I think there's one scene earlier where C-3PO was literally, he says the words, "It's Captain Solo," and he's still frozen in carbonite, while we see Han Solo on screen still frozen in carbonite, and it's like, yeah, buddy, you don't have to literally spell it out for us.
It would have been interesting, I think, if maybe Leia was the one that showed up to rescue everybody, and she she's in that get up, and so you can't tell who it is, and you see them use a Jedi Force power, and you're like, oh, it's Luke, and then the grand reveal is it's Leia.
That's cool. That's a cool idea.
Yeah,
I think
have her Jedi mind trick somebody.
Yeah, just like Obi-Wan showed his first Force power. And
there you go.
A little subversion, but
we're fixing Star Wars, guys.
That's right.
I think even within the framework we actually
did get approved for a trilogy.
I told him I was a woman.
Even within the framework of the script as it is now, there was room for something like that. When she kills Jabba on the sand barge, you could have they could have thrown something in about her potentially having Force powers in that sequence.
She force pushes him into the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. Nothing about that sequence is explicitly wrong. It's more of a flaw with how Leia's whole reveal is delivered. that like there was definitely room for improvement on.
So we get a line that will curse Star Wars. Luke, the Force flows, or the Force runs strong in your family. And so everything is about to be about Skywalkers.
Yep.
And then there's another Skywalker after a very long conversation with Yoda. Obi-Wan shows up and he's got to explain himself and
I didn't lie.
yeah.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah. And that kind of, I don't know, that kind of makes a weird dynamic in Star Wars where if you are a bad person, you don't have your identity. It's your own, you change your name when you're a bad person. And so you have to like kill who you were and you're no longer that fucking person, but you can come back and be that person.
You have to let the past die.
Well, it's I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like that should have been, maybe that could have been the central message in the new trilogy. Would be like, I don't know, Rey breaking down Kylo, saying, "You're not Kylo fucking Ren. You're Ben Solo."
Well, she did.
Yeah, but like you better like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that was kind of their overall arc. It's the shape of it. It's just like by the time the trilogy was over, it was kind of a mess.
It wasn't planned. No, I don't know. I don't know that was ever a plan. To me, it feels like just.
Well, that was a central
separate
part
movies.
of the movie that shall not be named was their dynamic and relationship and how she was trying to do exactly that. That's why she went to him in that movie, etc.
Right. Yeah. But he refused it. Like he.
Well, that's also interesting in a sense, but we can get to that when we get to the sequel trilogy.
Exactly.
This is a video about The Last Jedi. Or fuck, no, it's Return of the Jedi. They're the only two with Jedi on the fucking title.
So is The Last Jedi Voldemort?
I just know that.
Is that the movie that you were referring to,
Yes.
Brandon?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
I saw an interesting video essay the other day. I have to link to you guys. He's a guy that doesn't like The Last Jedi. He's not like outwardly like vitriolic towards it, but he thinks it's pretty mediocre. But he did a video essay on what he thought were the 10 most important movies of the last decade, and The Last Jedi was on there because it generated so much like just controversy around it.
Yeah.
And you have so many like just intense opinions on both sides of the debate.
Yeah.
About whether it's like a perfect masterpiece or whether it's just like utter garbage. I thought that was pretty interesting. He has a much better like reasoning for it than I do. That I thought was pretty cool. I'll link it to you guys.
Okay. Joe. For $140 to fly from Indianapolis to Albany, please tell me all your thoughts about the Battle of Tanab.
The Battle of Tanab.
Very famous battle. You probably heard about Lando's little maneuver.
In the exposition.
Yeah, please tell me what's your favorite part of the Battle of Tanab.
I mean, Battle of Tanab is, it
was hell.
I've never.
Would you say it was hell? Would you say it was hell, Joe?
Would I say it was what?
Would you say it was hell?
Would I say it was hell? Yeah, sure. Call it hell.
Bold statement. I didn't realize you hated the troops, Joe.
I do. I hated it.
So,
Hey, the whole like part of Return of the Jedi, I'm not a huge fan. Return of the Jedi, or whatever this movie's called. God
God damn it,
Um,
Joe.
I am not. I'm not in love with. Personally, me, I always more enjoyed this movie after it gets past this.
yeah, the last act of this movie, when they're actually like
The
the
Luke
Battle of Endor starts,
Yeah,
And-
the Luke Vader
stuff.
stuff in this movie is what really fascinates me.
Yes.
It's almost perfect. Like that plot line on its own is like 10 out of 10. It's really, really good. The stuff that's around it, it varies in quality.
Hard agree.
Yeah, I'm not saying this whole stuff on Tatooine is worthless and not great because I'm actually really big fan of Rancors. I actually think Rancors are really cool creatures in the Star Wars universe of it all. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm definitely more of a. I definitely like the first half of this movie. I could probably take a nap through and be fine.
It just doesn't really have too much of a bearing on the rest of the plot, other than Han Solo is back now.
Right. Which we could have
Yeah,
done with that in the title crawl.
we thought he was gonna die. And Harrison Ford didn't want to come back, but they needed him.
I mean, as much money as they paid him and a bunch of coke with Carrie Fisher will probably get anybody back to a movie.
Did
Yeah.
you see where
Coke
she
nail?
hugs him yet? The coke nail.
The coat nail's visible in several scenes.
Yeah.
Dude, the promotional material for this movie, looking at it now, is like so sad. Just the old pictures of Carrie Fisher on the beach.
Mhm.
Like, it's just like, I don't know, it just sucks that somebody that
There
happy,
it is. There it is.
like, just had like so much shit going on.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I got a question. What is 8-ball?
What is an 8-ball?
Like Star Wars related or
Like drugs. Like I know there's cocaine, there's coke, but then I've heard 8-ball. What is an 8-ball?
3.5 grams. Let's see.
it's 3.5 grams of cocaine.
Okay, I got up to go throw away some trash, and I came back to, it's 3.5 grams of cocaine. How did we get here?
Oh man. So is that all it is? Is 3.5 grams of cocaine?
Let's see.
An 8-ball of coke is equal to 3.5 grams of cocaine. In fact, 3.5 grams is 1/8 of an ounce, 28.34 grams. For this reason, they call it the amount an 8-ball of coke. Besides, the drug dealers and buyers may also use this term to refer to the same amount of meth.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is there a drug where you do cocaine and heroin at the same time?
The musical number in the first half of this movie.
That was amazing, Jeff. Oh my god. Okay, because we thought that's what an 8-ball could be.
I think that
It was,
the dual use between crystal and cocaine is what made me think that.
no, I'm still on the idea of heroin and cocaine. Sounds fucking terrifying to me. Like, do you snort that? Do you smoke it? Like, oh my god, you inject
I don't know.
it? Oh.
I don't know, man. Apparently, you can do it meth any way you want.
Oh god, that's a fuck.
Yeah, dude, eat it.
Just eat it.
Literally
Dude, I
just bathe with it. Use it as like kind of an extravagant bath bomb.
Next time you're up, Mason, I'll introduce you to some people.
No, I don't know. Oh my god, no. I'm fucking terrified. I can't imagine.
Want to be Spider?
Or there's this guy I know named Joe Exotic. He can help us out too.
I bet he fucking god. I don't ever want to run into that human being in my entire life. I'm so
Joe
scared.
Exotic?
Yeah, I'm so scared that you'll be at the airport one fucking day and you'll see this motherfucker and you have to sit next to him on the plane.
That would be the greatest day of your life, Mason. You would be so lucky to sit
Mason,
next to Joe Exotic on a plane.
You would get to talk to someone who ran for president.
Oh
Your
my
dream
God.
job.
Oh my god, that's true. But I also,
Yeah, Mason is going to Joe. It's the Joe Exotic.
what are you telling all?
Yeah, I'm
Trump's
telling
gonna
Autumn.
party.
During all
Trump's
of
gonna
this,
party, man.
Heard Mason's going to jail to hang out with Joe Exotic.
Thank you, Autumn.
You're welcome.
Oh my god. Totally
Give
get
it
a
time.
mic.
Updated skybox CGI looks pretty good.
Yeah. And so now, all right. So the new plan is we got this old Empire Starcraft, and it's got some old codes, but it's gonna be okay the shield surrounding the Death Star is on the forest moon of Endor. We got to get down there and deactivate it so that we can fly the rebel ships in and destroy it just like the first time. Okay.
Love you too. Good night.
We have to return to the familiar formula. It's the third, it's
Yeah, but I kind of this is simple. I got this. I buy this plan.
Yeah, everything that I wanted out of the Jabba segment, you kind of get out of the plan for this segment. Like, there's a clear, I guess, they clearly establish what the plan is, and then you get to watch as all these different variables and stuff change. I don't know. It's not a bad outline for the rest of your story.
And then Darth Vader says he'll deal with them, and Luke consents. Darth Vader, he says he could be on any ship, but so they can sense each other.
Yeah, and this is where the movie really picks up. Is all of the character stuff between Luke and Vader is just really, really good, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and then we have a speeder bike scene that goes on an incredibly long amount of time.
How do we feel about how Endor looks? How do we feel?
It's a wooded planet. Okay.
I don't know. Something about these scenes have always just felt to me like they just kind of shot them in someone's backyard. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know what it is.
I thought it was woods.
I can't put my finger on it, but compared to the biomes of the previous two movies, something about Endor it just feels off and different. It doesn't feel like an alien planet. It doesn't feel like somewhere fantastical. It just feels like they're in the woods.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It feels like it was much easier to film out in the middle of the woods than it was to build a set.
Yeah.
But I see the giant trees look. I'm guessing they're CGI or something. They're very close together, but
the shot composition and stuff isn't bad, and the color grading, it's very obviously professionally produced. But I don't know, I can't. I have to really think up a better critique of it. But something about this planet has always just kind of looked bland. And
I mean, it looks like where we're from.
Yeah.
It's like Northern California until the tiny teddy bears show up.
Yeah.
With the weird eyes.
Yeah, dude, Ewoks are just weird, man. I forgot they were in this movie until just now.
Really?
Yeah.
What
I hate Ewoks, dude.
So Leia runs into one after crashing. Luke already ran all the way back. That whole speeder bike scene.
That speeder bike scene. They were flying so fast,
right? 60 miles an hour or something through the woods.
So far away.
Jogs back.
In seconds, he regroups with the people he flew miles away from.
Right after Han Solo resolves his thing, and boom. Okay, but all right. So Leia,
we gotta sell some toys.
Is dealing with an Ewok. The Ewok doesn't know what a helmet is, so we're gonna go over what a helmet is. And then this guy is sniping at her. And then another guy comes and gets her, and he has a pistol, so he was sniping at her with a fucking pistol.
Well, yeah, someone sniped. I think it's her. Yeah, Leia picks up the gun in just a minute and starts sniping the dude flying away.
Okay, so it's the Halo 1 pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that she does that with a handgun,
Yeah.
Okay, so it blows up both speeders. So she can't get back the normal way. The Ewok's offering to show her a way. I told you that we cut back to the Emperor on the throne. And I kind of agree. If this had been the first scene, this with him, that would have been a strong start.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they just kind of through dialogue and facial cues from all the Imperial officers of how scared they are, if that's how they explain that the Emperor is there, but we don't actually see him until Luke sees him, I feel like that would have been really effective.
I kind of like how the bad CGI and everything that hasn't aged well feels very sterile and too clean, and that's the Empire. It's just it's I don't mind.
It's corporate,
right? Yeah.
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 That is an interesting point because this was made like at the very tail end of the '80s, right? I can't remember what.
Early 80s.
So 83.
80,
Early
yeah,
80s?
probably would have been filmed in 82.
Gotcha. It was just at a point where we were hitting the sort of like middle years of computer generated imagery, where it was getting like it was strong enough like that you could viably build significant portions of a movie around it, but it wasn't, as lifelike as it is now. So it was like parts of this movie, that may be why parts of this movie haven't aged as well, as they were playing around with new technology that just wasn't going to age in the same way of as practical effects of
Yeah.
the years prior.
But I like it being, I don't know, when it's applied to the Empire, it kind of works for me.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid point. Yeah.
When it's like natural creatures or like dancers or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it's
Good thing there's not a scene like that in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd just be wild.
Yeah.
C-3PO
Yeah.
is glaring in the sun.
Yeah. And then-
I really do like this whole plot between Vader, the Emperor, and Luke on the Death Star. And Ian McDiarmid's performance, man, he's just so good in this role.
Yeah.
He's my favorite performance in probably the whole franchise. Like even in the prequels and even in Rise of Skywalker, even though those movies aren't that great, I'm always just glad to see him because he's so fucking good. He's like the perfect actor for George Lucas's writing style because he can take any like wordy, hammy dialogue and just like chew scenery with it in a way that is so fun.
Yeah, totally agree. I love when he speaks, like how he commands when he talks.
Mhm.
His inflection.
Yeah.
So it's like he's almost spitting.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see, like, I don't know, it's like that's the only kind of personality you could imagine a character like Darth Vader really like bowing to. It's just this sort of like demented, cackling old sorcerer.
But when we have to cut away from that to Luke and them getting trapped by the Ewoks, and then everybody runs into the Ewoks, and I kind of like, I don't know if it's intentional, but Luke like smiles when they get caught, and I guess he's like oh, I thought I've seen this trick, this is like Yoda, and it's like, oh, they're gonna be creepy and cuddly, but they're gonna be not more than meets the eye. That's the only
I mean, if I had just fallen into a trap and was like worried for my safety, and then I found out that the people that trapped me were like 3 foot tall teddy bears, I'd probably like crack a smirk too.
Yeah. But what if you had just got done with a 2 foot tall elf, who is this brave warrior?
That's fair.
You just
That's fair.
Yeah, you had your expectations subverted. Are you gonna ride in and discount these little fuckers?
True. I mean, they single-handedly take down, the most well-organized military. And oh, God, I hate these things so much.
Yeah. Don't underestimate something because if it's size,
Oh
Jamie.
God, if they'd just been Wookiees.
Because Kashyyyk
Yep.
in the prequels, they couldn't take that from the prequels.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, and then they start worshiping C-3PO, but he doesn't want to help them, and Luke's just cracking a fucking grin, just having a good time. And C-3PO's basically saying, "You're gonna die." And he's letting Han take the lead. So
That is that actually does mention a kind of a good point where like throughout like all of the trouble they found themselves in this movie so far, like at Jabba's palace, Luke is really laissez-faire and he doesn't really act like he's being threatened.
right.
And then here Luke is very like nonchalant. He's like laughing about it. That kind of sets up a nice dynamic for when he's in the Emperor and Vader's presence, and the Emperor is threatening his friends, and Vader is threatening his sister, and he gets angry and he looks worried. Like it sets up a nice dynamic because that kind of hammers home, I guess, how he is in trouble in those moments because we've
Right.
seen him. Yeah,
like he's above this. He's not worried about this. He's very, yeah. And then
It's just like
when he starts to worry, that's when you're like, oh shit, now we're at a like it shows how high the stakes are when he's involved in that. Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah.
But then we have a really long scene about lifting him up and drums, and Leia got a makeover, and they're gonna build a fire, but it says it makes him angry, and Luke telekinetically lifts C-3PO. Okay.
R2-D2 gets beaten. It's
So
like
yeah.
Roots.
And they free him, and oh, they're all good, and they're gonna help us, and they're gonna show us where the shield is at.
Because they know what that is.
Yeah, well, hey, I could buy that. Hey, there's this artificial thing. They're kind of tribal, Like the Native Americans could have been winning. They're like, hey, there's some white people that just fucking showed up. Like they could have.
Be on the lookout, guys.
Yeah, be on the lookout. Yeah, got triangle hats. And then Luke has a little scene with Leia. Tell me what you remember about your mom. And I guess they have time before the shield generator needs to go down.
For a while, that was like one of the biggest plot holes in the franchise. They had to retcon it. I mean, like it never really mattered, but it was just interesting how they forgot about that one line when they were making the prequels.
Yeah.
Wait, which line?
In the movie, Leia describes her in Return of the Jedi. Leia describes her mother.
Oh,
She,
yeah.
Yeah, and like they were like, well, it was her adopted mother,
Yeah.
But like that clearly wasn't the initial intent. The initial intent was Luke was trying to figure out what their mom was like because he knows now that Vader is their father and that Leia is his sister.
Yep. That ties back into us talking about how like the last 30 minutes of Return of the Jedi are like landing a fucking jet. Like we gotta land it on a dime on this little.
You mean
island.
Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah. What did I say?
Okay.
Revenge of the Jedi.
One of these, whatever these fucking space movies are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it kind of ties into that. Like we were talking about how everything was just rushed.
Yeah,
including that little line.
Which is a shame because like there's a lot of really interesting stuff in Revenge of the Sith.
Yep. The Force is strong in my family. We'll use this line over and over again.
Yeah. And then.
Oh, shit. I had something I need to mention about this scene.
Do it.
When Luke and Leia are talking in the scene, there's a really interesting bit of orchestration that plays here. It is it's a mix of both, like the piece takes the melodies from both Luke and Leia's themes and kind of plays them not in tandem but opposite each other as the scene goes on. And it is, to my knowledge, used only one other time in the entire franchise. And we'll get back to that when we talk about a later movie.
When Leia dies?
No. It's used in, I'll go ahead and say it because it's not a big deal. It's just something I think is cool. It's used in The Last Jedi during the scene where Luke and Leia talk before Luke goes off, hologram Luke goes off to beat up his nephew or whatever.
That was a good choice.
Yeah, and it's notable because do you guys know the YouTube channel Sideways?
I do not.
He's a musician and he analyzes music and films, and he has a really cool series on Star Wars where he talks about how in the original trilogy everything in the score is precise. Like the music is used not only for like ambient reasons but for narrative reasons. Each character has a theme, and these themes are used to like associate how they tie into how we associate the character with different moments in the films. For example, there's a moment in this movie where Luke's theme, the Star Wars theme, is echoed from A New Hope, and it's done with the intent that hopefully, as the audience hears this theme playing when they see new Luke, they'll be reminded of like how much he's grown over the course of these three movies. But he talks about how in the prequel trilogy, this unfortunate trend starts where they just kind of start playing like they start the themes lose their association with characters and narrative, and they just kind of start becoming like the backtracking for action set pieces, and then that trend continues even to an even worse degree in the sequel trilogy. Like even though the Last Jedi does have that cool moment with Luke and Leia, there are like other instances in that movie where they kind of use themes out of place. It's really cool. You should check it out.
Nice. Link to it in the Discord.
Yeah, let me do that real quick.
We're breezing along here.
Oh yeah.
Just getting straight to the meat.
Yeah, we got the Luke and tells it you're my sister and goes away, and then Han Solo shows up and they talk and they hug and oh they're sweet, and then
He realizes he's in.
yeah, Luke surrenders to the Empire, which takes him to Vader, and
Just as Vader wanted.
right, and talks about how the name Anakin Skywalker has no meaning.
Interestingly, this is basically the same exact setup and dynamic as what happened in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Hold on, where are we in the movie?
We're at Vader and Luke meeting when Luke surrenders himself. We
Yeah.
skipped ahead through the Leia exposition. You're my sister, and you're a Jedi, and Han's here, and he's free to bone you now.
Yeah. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's get to the real movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing you were talking about earlier, Jamie.
This is where the movie really picks up.
Yeah.
Oh, an hour and a half in.
Yeah. It's just like the Luke Vader stuff is all really, really interesting. I have more to say about it, but we'll have to like get into the actual scenes.
Okay, and then they're sneaking to the base, and then we cut to the rebel cruisers are coming quick. So
Ewok militia.
now they gotta hurry up and go. So, are they gonna sneak into the base? Use some speeders to distract. Oh, okay, got it. All right, now we're in the base. All right, now we're back with Luke and Vader. Okay, here we go. And he gets brought into the Emperor. And great shot. The Emperor's elevated. He's like commanding. They're little shadows compared to him.
Praetorian Guards looking badass
Yeah,
on
Praetorian
that
Guards
weird
look badass.
bridge thing that's there with a giant hole in it for some reason.
I guess it's like an elevator, but it's exposed.
Not a great plan.
Joe, has Luke turned to the dark side in this? Like, he's wearing all black.
Well, that was one of the themes of the movie. They wore all black just to show that, just kind of like foreshadowing that it could happen.
Yeah, or to sort of give the illusion
Yeah.
that he had
Like,
it
he
in
shows
him.
up, he threatens to kill Jabba, and then he just starts murdering all of Jabba's guards.
He's not the Jedi of old.
Yeah. He kicks ass.
He's the
takes
new
names.
badass
Yeah.
Jedi. He smokes Newports.
Yeah. Like
But,
wears Converse and like cigarette like jeans. Has a lip piercing.
Now dig on this.
Is that from fucking Spider-Man
3.
3? Oh my god.
Oh wait, dude, we've got to do the fucking Spider-Man movies
Oh,
next.
That'd be good, yes. Alright, so is Amazing Spider-Man first? Or is it's alphabetically
We have to
first?
start with Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh god.
I hope
The
we can
Amazing
make it through.
Spider-Man movies are so fucking weird.
The first one's not horrible, but
Oh, the first one's pretty good.
it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the second
The
one's just
second
back-
one is god awful. The Sam
Mason
Raimi
said
trilogy
the second
holds
one
up.
was his favorite one.
Really?
That's what you said.
Wait, second one of what?
I did?
The Amazing Spider-Man.
He might mean of the Sam Raimi trilogy.
No.
'Cause, like,
He
No.
was discussing. He was discussing that if the movie ended right where Gwen dies,
Yes.
There's a lot more problems with it. That come
Yeah, the problem's name is Dane DeHaan. Like,
miscast for sure.
Dane DeHaan is miscast in everything.
If your movie ends with like you killing the love interest and then credits right then, I would have been fucking impressed. Just stop it right there, just bang out. You're like, fuck, what? Release the Mason cut.
We know it exists. When you guys inevitably do Wheels, do you think that's going to be a thing? Like, you'll have to leave the production on like bad terms, and actually, no, he didn't leave on bad terms. It was really sad actually, but like you have to leave the production, and they're like, people theorize for years that there's a Mason cut of Wheels.
Yeah. I have to hand the directing over to Joe.
Like, the Joe cut is just infinitely better, and everyone's super disappointed when the Mason cut comes out.